Oh no, it seems like old Frater Frauders did it this time. Quite a few people seem to be upset over my latest videos. Why the poor are selfish and people with problems are problems. I wonder who saw that coming.
You're broke! You're fucking poor!
Alright, so this person knew it was coming. I mean, even before I did, because I didn't see this comment until after I thought, well, maybe I should make a mailbag of these. So let's see what we get here. This was on the People with Problems Are Problems video, except that it wasn't on the video itself. It was on the post letting people know that it had been released on Patreon, Subscribestar, and YouTube memberships. So this person has not watched the video. He has no context other than the title of the video, People with Problems Are Problems. He says, "You sound like a narcissist with zero compassion. Unsubscribed." Beautiful. I love this example because he's proving my point of the video. He has a problem with how I sound. He says I sound like a narcissist, which anybody who's been around long enough will find that funny, considering I point out narcissism all the time. But he has a problem from the title alone. He hasn't even watched the video. And so he tries to make it my problem by saying that he's unsubscribing. Okay. Look, I love all my subscribers, I do. But if you're just going to spout off without even having watched the video, because this was just a post saying that it had been released on Patreon, Subscribestar, and YouTube memberships, then you shouldn't be this far along in the Mystery School playlist anyway. You should be at the beginning. Because overcoming your polarization and being reactionary to things like that, to where you just start mouthing without even knowing what you're mouthing about, is step one. And we're going to see that this is going to be a recurring theme in this video. You can't simply judge a video by its title. I like to throw curveballs with them from time to time. So if you want to leave, that's fine, because your reaction tells me that you really don't belong here anyway. You belong at lesson 1. But the funny thing is that he proved the point of the video that he didn't even watch, right? He's trying to shoulder the burden of his problem onto me. Now, he could have just left without saying anything. So why didn't he? Because he wanted to make himself feel better by trying to make me feel worse. And I pointed this out to him and let him know that the door is open, that he can come back whenever he wants. And he comes back with, "No, I'm saying that I think you're an asshole." Now, I don't want to have to call projection on this one, but by calling me an asshole, you're kind of being an asshole. I mean, really, there's no need for that. I mean, I know people get offended these days real easily, but this guy's taking it to a whole new level by not having any knowledge of the thing he thinks he's offended by. I guess what I'm saying is you can't complain about the content if you haven't viewed the content. It's a fairly simple concept that most people can understand. We've been getting a few of these lately, which is concerning. It's amazing how people are blind to their own projections. He says unsubscribing is only a problem if you feel insecure about it because you need approval to feel okay about yourself. The guy is literally describing what he just did by needing to tell me that he's unsubbing to make himself feel better about himself. And he accuses me of seeking validation and missing the entire point of what I was saying. No, I'm saying that you're providing me an example of what the video was about. Look, I love all my subscribers. Every single one of you is why I can continue doing what I'm doing. But do not think that I am hung up on any one single individual subscriber. If they leave, they leave. I wish they wouldn't, but if they do, it's not really going to be the end of the world for me. It's not that big of a problem. It's a bigger problem in his mind. That's why he's saying it. If he didn't think it would be a problem for me, he wouldn't utter it. Right? People with problems are problems. He had a problem with how I sound. Again, in his mind, he's obviously not familiar with any of my other material. And because he now has a problem with me, he wants to make his problem my problem. The only way that he can, by making a rude comment. Now, did I attack him personally? No. I just said he was proving my point. Did he attack me personally? Yeah, like right away. Immediately, and then in the next comment as well. And the best part about that is if you go and look at this guy's channel, all he does is meditate. Now, I've stressed the importance of meditation because most people do too little of it. I think this guy does too much. It looks like it's all he does. You'd think he would be the most chill person in the world. But nope. People who would have a problem with a video entitled People with Problems or Problems are going to be your problematic people. People don't like the mirror held up to them because they don't want to face the fact that they are the cause of their own problems, which means they would have to be the one to fix it. But in this case, he just really missed the entire point of the video. People with Problems are Problems. It was a title that I had blatantly ripped off from someone else. Because one, I thought the title was funny, and two, I knew it would get a rise out of people like this. Because I know many of you are still polarized. And three, because it's true. People with problems are problems. And everybody has problems, so all people are problematic, including yours truly. I have problems. They're just a different quality of problems than most people have. You can't get rid of all of your problems. All you can do is trade up to better quality problems. And then do your best to solve them yourself and not be burdensome to other people with your problems. I mean, ask for help if you really need to, but for me, that's kind of a last resort so that I'm not burdening anyone else with my troubles. Well, what a narcissistic view to have. No, it's the narcissists who go around trying to burden people with their problems. There are a lot of people like that. In fact, I would say that a lot of bad behavior is attention-driven. All right, so this one comes from the Poor People Are Selfish video. You ain't rich. Does that mean you are selfish too? I mean, that's a pretty declarative statement there, to accuse me of not being rich. And it really depends on what you consider rich. I mean, what is your definition of rich? Well, I already know what his definition of rich is because I've read the next line of what he's saying. He says, the rich become rich through exploiting the goodwill of others. So I already know this guy better than he knows himself. This is a Marxist communist. The last guy probably was one too. This guy here is just your run-of-the-mill communist. And their idea of rich is Scrooge McDuck. Every rich person is Scrooge McDuck or Ebenezer Scrooge. You know, greedy and evil and all the horrible qualities that a person can be. That's what rich people are to these people. And there are some rich people like that, but it's not even close to what they would have you believe it is. Most rich people are like you and me. They just have more money. And they have more money because they do things differently than poor people do. That's basically it. So again, it depends on what you consider rich to be. Billionaires? Well, I mean, by that metric, I'm not. Millionaires? Well, I've done 1 million in sales over the course of my time. Here's the plaque that I was awarded by Gumroad when I reached that milestone, like a year ago or so. Now, that's an award for lifetime earnings on the platform. So you'll need to dole that 1 million out over like the 10 years I've been doing this. And that being only one of my sources of income. So you're looking at an annual 6 figures. Do you consider that rich? Some people might not, but many would. You know, even Bernie Sanders considered millionaires part of the 1% until he himself became a millionaire. Then he only rallies against billionaires. So saying I'm not rich is subjective. The vast majority of people out there would love to earn 6 figures. Now, on this channel and in my programs, I show people what's realistically possible. I don't say, oh, you're going to make $1 million overnight. I mean, you might, but way more often one gets rich by providing service to others, which lying communists like this don't like to do because they only like to serve themselves. And I call him a lying communist because he lies. And he's a communist. The very first thing he said was a lie. You ain't rich. Well, how would he know? This fool doesn't even know me. He says the rich become rich through exploiting the goodwill of others. How? How? More like communists exploit the poor with greed and envy, because that's what Marxism and communism are based upon. Jealousy is, I want what you have. Envy is, I want what you have, but since I can't have it, I don't want you to have it either. Now, I really don't want to get political here. That's not my intention. We've already gone over the evils of communism and how it's an ideology that will keep you poor. I only bring it up because by his own words, that's what he is. And so it's no wonder that he doesn't have any money, because anybody with any money at all is not going to have a communistic poverty mindset. And look, I wouldn't even respond to this comment at all, except for the guys claiming that my work and my programs are garbage and don't work, when he's never even purchased or taken my programs. He's a lying communist, and he'll prove it. He says what I sell are books. I don't sell books. I sell video and audio programs. Anyone who's taken them would know that. He says I podcast. I don't podcast. He says on my programs he took the free ones and the paid ones. I only have one free one. He says they're 40 minutes. I don't have a program under an hour. He couldn't name a single program nor get the content of the programs correct. So this person obviously isn't familiar with any of my programs. I mean, how many lies can you cram into a single comment? I think he was going for a record here. And then he doubled down and spouted, well, if you want to get me to look like I am lying, so can discredit what I am saying, so you can save face, that's up to you. But I know what I bought. I don't think you do. I really don't think you do. If you know what you bought, you would say what you bought. You haven't named a program. You haven't got any of the details right. You didn't even know I sell audio programs. You thought I sold books. It's not me getting you to look like anything. Your own tongue betrays you. Psalm 64:8. So they shall be made to stumble, their own tongue being against them. All that see them shall wag the head. His own tongue betrays him. He goes on talking about how my magic doesn't work. He says, bottom line, it doesn't work. No, bottom line is you're lazy. You're either lazy lying about my programs, which you didn't know any details of, including their length, title, their content, and even the format, all of it, you didn't know. Or he does have some of my programs, but he put just as much effort into them as he did his thoughtful comment here, in which case, no wonder it didn't work. Magic doesn't magic itself. You have to put in the time, effort, and intention. And I think that if you would have performed them, you would have remembered it, at least enough to include it in your details. But I'm going to go with my gut instinct that you're lying about it. And that's a reasonable assumption to make, that you haven't done any of it, because your own tongue betrays you. But either way, you have checkmated yourself, son. You're not getting one over on me. You're not fooling anyone. Now, people with this type of poverty mindset will try to tear down the reputation of others out of their spiteful envy. So let that be a lesson to you the next time you try to tarnish my reputation so lazily. I would say nice try, but it really wasn't. It was like the laziest attempt I've ever seen in my life, and I would expect no less from your typical communist.
He actually said that. He said that. How dare he say that?
Oh, hey, look, it's the first guy again. The poor are an incredibly diverse group of people. The hell does that even mean? What does that have to do with anything? If you want a selfish fascist who F's people over for personal gain, try Elon Musk. I was right. This guy's a commie too. How did I know? Are you going to take money advice from these bums who have never run a business and are in poverty themselves? Or are you going to take it from people who know money and have run businesses and have actually earned some? Bottom line, if you're struggling under capitalism, you're doing it wrong. That's why I created the laws of riches, to show you how to do it right. But back to his comment. Again, they view rich people as Scrooge McDuck, evil and greedy and manipulative, which is a very juvenile perspective to have. It really is. Because in order to believe that, one would also need to believe that there is no possible way, at least none that they can think of, to legitimately earn a vast amount of money without being greedy, evil, exploitative, and manipulative. All the things that cartoon villains are. Kind of like Scrooge McDuck. Or did he become a good guy? don't know, really. But having that view is quite juvenile. And I know some people are going to say, well, you think all poor people are selfish. Well, I don't know if all of them are selfish, but I do know that all poor people are ignorant.
He actually said that. He said that. How dare he say that?
Meaning that they don't know how to lift themselves out of poverty. That's why they're poor. And the way you lift yourself out of poverty is by providing service to others, which poor people don't do or even refuse to do, which is what makes them selfish and poor. This isn't a political opinion. There is no agenda. This is a self-evident truth. Ironic that the one guy who's trying to lift them out of poverty, they call an asshole. But I've said it before, and you can see it here, you cannot save everyone. There are some people you're just not going to be able to help. People think that because I hold them up a mirror and show them the truth, that, oh, Frater hates the poor. No, I'm trying to help you not be the poor. But in order to not be the poor, you have to stop thinking poor. And then people wonder why I reiterate on topics like polarity and proper mindset. Why do you talk about it so much? Because it's step fucking one. It's step fucking one. And there's people like this who can't get past step one. A guy like this comes along, he watches 2 videos, bam, his polarity kicks in. His polarization gets the best of him. He tries to make me feel bad with his comment, and he fucks off. Now you know why, since the beginning of this channel, I've gone on and on about polarity so much. Because I knew that one day, the things that I would be teaching would trigger your polarized belief system and piss you off. And at that point, you're just going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. You're not going to care what else I say because you've been polarized with one thing that I've said that will polarize you against everything that I say. You disagree with one thing, so therefore you disagree with it all. And a lot of people are like this today. And that's why at the very beginning of this channel, 10, 12 years ago now, the very first couple videos of the Mystery School playlist talked about all of this. See, I don't have to agree with someone to listen to them or not. Depends on what it is. There's not a single person in this world that I agree with 100% on everything. You're just not going to find them. But that doesn't mean I'm going to throw out the baby with the bathwater and exclude everything else that they're saying. There may be some valuable stuff in there. Although, like I said, I'm not going to take financial advice from a beach bum or a poor communist like these guys because they don't have the experience. And a lot of times that's what matters when it comes to information and perspective, because you can only get that first-hand perspective through experience. I mean, I tried, guys. I really did. I tried to soften the blows that I was going to be dealing out early on. All right, what are we at? 20 minutes for 2 comments? Screw it, let's keep going. Oh, here's my favorite. Josh's7178 writes, "Oh man, here we go, Frater. I like your content, but I'll have to pass on this one. Cheers." Yeah, he's getting out of Dodge. He don't want no part of it. Now, see, I love this one because it's still polarized. He still wants to get away. But be that as it may, this is how you properly respond. He didn't insult me. He was respectful and therefore deserving of respect in return. And I have no issues with this. I wish this guy the best, but I hope that I could turn his mindset around at some point. Because mindset really is the first step on the way to riches. It's just number one. Without that, you have no foundation to build upon. And I want people, especially my subscribers here, because this person is a member, to understand money and get that part of your life handled so that you can use magic to pursue higher pursuits. You know, the first of the elemental grades that you go through in the Golden Dawn system after the preliminary neophyte grade is the Earth grade. And during your initiation time in the Earth grade, you should be getting things that correspond with that element handled. Your health and finances. I mean, you still live in this earthly realm, so you're going to need to get your material needs handled. First, not last. It's the first elemental grade. For a reason. It's very difficult to focus on other higher pursuits if you are always worried about providing. Now, I don't know about you, but handling those material needs means not having to worry about finances. I mean, people who say that I'm just doing this for money weren't around here at the beginning of this channel when I didn't earn a dime for a few years. There was no YouTube partner program then. I didn't have thousands of subscribers. I think it took me like 10 months just to reach 100. And the things that I was teaching back then laid the foundation for today. Talking about polarization early on, knowing that some of your core beliefs that are holding you back were going to be challenged, such as all rich people are evil and greedy and exploitative. That is a limiting belief that will keep you poor, because your subconscious will literally keep you poor to prevent you from becoming evil. These subconscious core beliefs will prevent you from acquiring money. And money is one of those things that you have to get handled early on in your magical practice so that you could focus on higher magical pursuits rather than worrying about it. That's why I designed the laws of riches, to help people get through what is a difficult thing to do for a lot of people. But the good news is that things could turn around pretty quick when you change your mindset. I mean, you don't even have to buy my course. I mean, just change your mindset. The other 49 laws of riches you can do later. Just change your mindset. Get rid of that victim mentality, that you're being exploited by the rich. Get rid of that false belief that all rich people are evil Scrooge McDucks. You know, when you start turning your mind around, your reality has to follow, right? It's the same thing I've been telling people with the glass half empty, glass half full. That's perspective maxim that's been around a lot longer than I have. How you view things makes all the difference. So if there's nothing else that you take away from this video, at least take this. When you change your mind, you change your life. And if you don't, you won't. Now here's a capitalist commercial. The Laws of Riches is the series that's going to take you from being broke to not having to worry about money. It's called The Laws of Riches because becoming rich is an exact science. There's a formula to it. Simply put, rich people think and do things differently than poor people.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste.
And so it stands to reason that if you start thinking and doing as they do, then you'll also start getting similar results. We're going to be going over investing, having multiple sources of income instead of just having a job, assets and liabilities, leveraging debt, avoiding inflation, the law of compensation. How much you earn is going to be determined by this formula, passive income, how to earn money while you sleep, and much, much more. You'll be getting a lesson per week for an entire year when you sign up. You can get the Laws of Riches and other Mind and Magic programs over at mindandmagic.com today.
Pleased to meet you, and I hope you guess my name.
25% off the Laws of Riches, link in the video and in the description. The Corporate Hermeticist writes, "This is the first video of Frater Xavier's that I ever watched, and I'm so glad I found it. I'm glad I didn't turn off the video because at first I thought it was just some Christian magic is evil nonsense because of the first couple minutes until I saw it was a reply. Frater's videos have helped me become a capable magician and helped me find the Golden Dawn path. I'm currently going through the grades of Cicero's self-initiation book. Going through a book on self-initiation is the best advice to give a new student. And I very much respect Frater for making that one of the first suggestions in his series. Magic has completely changed my life. I went from living paycheck to paycheck, working a fast food minimum wage job that I hated, to a nice job in finance, where I'm making more than I ever had before. But even more importantly, I'm more grounded, centered, and an overall better person thanks to this work. Frater's videos did not only help me learn magic, but helped me get a good financial mindset that has changed my life. I've mentioned this in another one of Frater's videos before, but after rewatching the first video I saw, I felt compelled to make this comment for anyone who may just be discovering this channel." Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. Thank you so much for that glowing testimonial. You know I love me a good success story, because I want other people to have them as well. Because once you get a taste of this, once the work that you've been putting in starts to pay off, and the magic that you've done starts to manifest, to where your entire life starts to turn around for the better, then nothing these other guys say here, none of these communists and detractors are going to convince you otherwise, because you have the first-hand experience to know that it works. Because nobody can prove that magic works to you. You have to prove it to yourself. You have to experience it firsthand, and then you'll know. And thank you so much for the testimonial and the super thanks. It's very much appreciated. I don't think poverty is always a selfish mindset. Poverty is always a mindset. I mean, sometimes it has to be because you can't share what you don't have. And sometimes you just get screwed over by cons by not understanding the con. Neither of those things you just said are poverty. The first just means you're broke, and the second one may mean you're gullible. But being broke and gullible doesn't poverty make. It could add to it, but being broke is just not having any money. Poverty is the mindset that keeps you broke. Poverty is much worse than being broke, because if you're broke, at least you could get more money. You don't always have to not have money. But poverty is a mindset that keeps people broke by habitually doing things that keeps money away from them. And we all know that habits are ruled by the subconscious. So if they're doing something habitually as part of the mindset, then that means that the mindset is a subconscious mindset. Not all mindsets are conscious. A mindset is a collection of beliefs. And a lot of these core beliefs are in the subconscious. That's also why people have such a polarizing reaction to things sometimes, as things hit upon those core beliefs. It's not always an easy thing to change. As someone who is poor, that I haven't had very much to eat yet this month, and if I eat today, I probably won't eat tomorrow. I 100% agree with Frater. As I sit here and think, he is absolutely right, even about me. Y'all should listen up. I know it's not nice to hear that you're the problem, but sometimes you're the problem. All these people here pissing and moaning because Frater said something mean about the poors. That right there is the reason you're going to stay poor. Because you'd rather complain how someone said you're poor and that it's your fault than to go and actually do something to fix it. You guys are like the woman with the nail in her head, just wants to complain about the nail, doesn't want to solve the problem of the nail being in her head. I, for one, refuse to sink into oblivion. Thank you, Frater, for this perspective and information. With it, I'm certain I'll succeed. Well, thank you. I mean, this is the attitude that one needs to have if they want to really launch themselves towards success. They've looked in the mirror that I've held up, and they said, you know what? I don't like what I see. Maybe I can stand to make a few changes. That's what the previous commenter did, and things have really taken off for him. That's why this channel is Mind and Magic, and not just magic. That mindset that you have is just as important, if not more, than the magic. People can and do succeed just on mindset alone, without magic. Now, magic helps, and can be the difference between success and failure, and often is. But one can be successful with just proper mindset alone. Again, change your mind, change your life. And I very much appreciate the comment, and I give my best to you, my friend. With that attitude, you will go far. You've given the rich a lot of grace here, Frater, like you always do in all your other videos about this topic of money. But you never do the same for the poor. Well, for starters, I have to call into question your idea of what rich is. Because for most people, including the guy who called me an a-hole, when they think the word rich, they think Elon Musk, who's the richest of the rich. Or a Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, the upper 1% billionaire class. They're outliers. They're exceptions to the rule. They don't represent most rich people. Your wealthy people are your doctors, your attorneys, business owners, six-figure earners, upper middle class. Now, to a lot of people, six figures is earning a lot of money. And to others, such as the billionaire elite, it's not a lot at all. So understand that when I talk about the rich, I'm not really referring to those billionaire elite unless somebody brings them up. I'm more referring to people who aren't in a poverty mindset. Those who aren't living paycheck to paycheck, can afford to buy whatever they want whenever they want, within reason. Those who don't waste all of their money on liabilities. Did you hear that lady who just sued Trump for defamation and she won, and then she went on TV talking about all the stuff she's going to buy. Oh, we're going to go shopping, and we're going to go to Paris, and I'm going to get a penthouse. You want a penthouse too? I'll get you a penthouse.
You've talked about using some of Trump's money that you're about to get to help shore up women's rights. Do you know what that might be, what that might look like?
Yes, Rachel. Yes.
Tell me.
I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I are going to go shopping. We're going to get completely new wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle for Crowley, new fishing rod for Robbie. Rachel, what do you want? Penthouse? It's yours,
Nothing.
Rachel. Penthouse and France? You want France? You want to go fishing in France? No? Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, she won't have that money very long. You give somebody with a poverty mindset a lot of money like that, they're going to do the things that the poor do, and they're going to waste it all. It's the same as when you hear people that have won the lottery and a few years later they're broke. They don't have any more because they spent it all on liabilities. And again, we go over all that in the laws of riches. Poverty is a mindset, meaning being poor is a choice. And there are always exceptions to the rule. I'm not saying that there's never an exception to the rule. There are exceptions to the rule. But for most people, it's a choice because you choose to either do something about it or you don't. And failure is not an excuse because one of the things that you're going to run into is that the vast majority of successful people have had numerous failures beforehand. Failure is part of the process, right? Not every business that somebody starts is going to succeed until one does. You know, I've taken as much guesswork out of the equation as I possibly can for people. And also, why wouldn't I just take the popular opinion? Arguing in favor of the poor is the populist position. Why would I not take the easy path? Why would I take the more difficult position of showing the other side, the other perspective? I mean, it's like you expect me to parrot what you want to hear, but that position and belief system that you have is what's keeping you from making any serious money, is keeping people poor. And that's not what I want for people. If I was having a direct, thoughtful dialogue with you, I could easily counter your premise. Doubtful. Because again, this is a self-evident truth. But this here monologue is simplistic blame the victim rhetoric about the poor. Blame the victim? See, that's the fundamental difference between you and me and how we think. You automatically see them as victims. And they are, but they're victims of themselves. Victims of their own bad decisions. Victims of their own mindset. Victims of their own ignorance. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Victims of their own laziness.
He actually said that. He said that. How dare he say that?
There's plenty of rich people online that will tell you how to make money. Making money is easy. And there's plenty of wealthy people that will tell you how to do it and teach you how to do it, but people just don't do it. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule. There's always going to be some unlucky guy who is handicapped or who lost his home through some terrible, tragic event. There are going to be some people like that, right? I do concede that. But the majority of people aren't victims at all. I mean, and calling them victims is putting them down way more than what you think I'm doing. But to a lot of them, that's high praise because victimhood is the new religion that they subscribe to, where he who is the biggest victim gets the most clout because it's easier than looking in the mirror and fixing their problems. I used to view money as energy, as in man hours, but more recently as a form of leverage. Most people are not cut out to be a business owner. Now, I disagree with that. Being a business owner is not that difficult. Now, it does certainly take a bit to get things going, for your business to take off. But once it does, it's way easier than a 9-to-5. Can anyone be a business owner? Sure. There is no intelligence prerequisite. There's a lot of people smarter than I am making a lot less money than I am. So will everybody be a business owner? No. But anyone who has the drive and effort to be can be. And there's a lot of businesses that people could start that don't require a lot of money and capital. Most people, myself included, lack the inspiration and follow through to create one. And that's fine. No, that's laziness. It's not fine. You don't need inspiration to be a business owner. What do you like to do? What is it that you're passionate about? How can you monetize that? Now, the follow-through, you do need discipline, sure, especially in the early formative years. But the reason most people don't start is because they don't know where to start, or they're too lazy to start. Then says there are other avenues to wealth creation. Not really, not any legal ones. Wealth creation is by providing service to others. Unless you win the lottery or sue Donald Trump. And there's a lot of people still holding out for the lottery, while time just ticks away. It only takes a good couple years to start making some real money, folks. And you're going to spend that time anyway. I can summarize this with a few words. What do you bring to the table? If a worker walks in with a broom in hand and offers to sweep the floor, they bring a broom. On the other hand, the business owner brings millions invested in the purchase of the factory, the machines, the advertising, the insurance, the legal team, etc. The worker risked at most his broom, while the owner risked everything else. These communists actually believe that the worker with the broom should be paid the same as the person who built the factory, runs it, keeps things flowing, and takes all the risk. Yeah, exactly. They want none of the risk and all of the reward. Yeah, every time. Yeah, that's why equality of outcome is unfair and unjust. Because not everybody's going to put in the same, not everybody's going to put in the same amount of work, not everybody's going to have the same amount of drive, not everybody's going to have the same work ethic. So how would it be fair for somebody to work, say, a decade building a business, building a brand, giving up all their weekends to do it, investing all their money into their business, while everybody else they knew just partied all the time on the weekend, went on all the vacations, wasted all their time on distractions and video games and TV, while you buckled down and built something and they get paid the same as you. Oh, and didn't take any of the risk, by the way. None of the liability. How is that fair? It's not. I mean, yeah, some people get it. But again, this isn't meant as a political rant, because every time I touch on this subject, the commies come out of the woodwork, saying that I'm bashing the poor when what I'm really trying to do is help them. I mean, did it ever occur to anyone that I say these things about the poor so that you won't want to be poor? That you'll make the decision to do the things that rich people do so that you can get similar results? I mean, I don't have to lie to influence people. I mean, I could also tell the truth. In fact, my entire business model depends upon it. Most of my customers are repeat customers who find my work valuable. I mean, if things didn't work, they wouldn't return and I'd be out of business. People are anxiously awaiting my next release. Evil, greedy Frater didn't release anything all of last year. Guess I had more important matters than money. Again, we don't really get rid of all of our problems, we just get better problems. And I do have problems, but money isn't one of them. I don't say that to brag, I say that to inspire. Because I at once thought like these guys did. So I know it's not a terminal condition, but it is against the odds and it isn't looking good. Mindset matters most. I mean, I swear, it's like people... I never thought it would be this difficult to convince people that mindset matters most. That it's really the first step. But, it is, as they say. That will do it for today's mailbag. I know it's gone on a bit long. Visit mindandmagick.com. Laws of Riches 25% off. Social media links will be on the screen momentarily, and I'll see you next time. Take care.